Okay, let's look at part 17. We're now going to discuss the deposit, product, and risk. Then when you look at current accounts, that word current account, what does it tell you? It's also a check account. Check account. All right. So current accounts and the demand deposit. Demand deposit. These are also known as demand deposit or check accounts, and they earn no interest. Remember, as you said in the previous parts, you get no interest on demand deposits or check accounts, but you can get an overdraft depending on the qualifying outcome at variable interest rates. There is no real risk attached to these accounts because they're at banks, and banks are normally safe. Then you look at money market, transactional, or investment accounts. This type of demand deposit account generally attracts tiered interest rates as published by the bank for this product and earns a higher rate of interest than savings, call, or notice deposits. However, a reasonably large deposit must always be maintained to receive these preferential rates of interest. The interest rate can fluctuate daily depending on market conditions. When you look at the savings account, a bank savings account is a short-term investment and is considered risk-free investment. The main risk is that the interest rate earned may not exceed inflation. So unfortunately, your interest earned may not exceed inflation. So if inflation is, let's say 9%, for example, your savings account can also be 9% or 8% or 7% or whatever lower. But it cannot be more, 10% plus. Okay, so even 9.5%, 9.1%. Okay, so it cannot be higher. Savings account earn a low interest rate, and this type of deposit generally attracts tiered interest rates as published by the bank. The interest rate can fluctuate daily depending on market conditions. When you look at the call account, what does that word call tells me? It says I must call the bank. Call the bank. So a calling account is usually viewed as a short-term deposit, provided the funds is accessible within 12 months, not within 6 months or 3 months or 8 months, 12. It is a low-risk investment. This type of deposit generally attracts tiered interest rates as published by the bank and earns a higher interest rate of interest than a savings account. The interest rate can fluctuate daily depending on the market conditions. So, a call account, you must call, I'll put in brackets call account, but it must be not over the phone, in writing, that you want your money back within 12 months, not immediately today, etc. Notice deposit, the same. This word notice tells me I must give the bank notice if I want to withdraw my money. Withdraw. And it must be in writing. Always in writing. A notice deposit account is also a short-term deposit where the funds are accessible only once the client has given written notice. You see, notice in writing, in writing. The notice deposit account is also regarded as low risk and attracts investors looking for a higher interest earning potential than paid by standard call account or savings account. So they want a bit higher interest potential. This type of deposit generally attracts tiered interest rates as published by the bank for this product, which means the more money the client save, the higher rate of interest he or she will earn. So the bank needs your money to borrow out again, or to lend, sorry. Um, so they how can I put it? They have a carrot in front of your nose. Put more money in, you get higher interest. You put more money in to get that more interest. The bank has got more money for loans. A change in interest rate is effective immediately. If a notice has been input by the client, the new interest rate will only come into effect after the notice period has expired. So that interest rate will only come into effect after the notice period has expired. It will not change immediately. When we look at the fixed deposit account, that word fixed tells us something is fixed. So let's have a look what is fixed. This account can be also classified as a short-term deposit if the client has access to the funds within 12 months. However, a more extended investment period can be chosen. So you can choose 24 months, 36 months, whatever. It is a low risk investment. A fixed deposit attracts a nominally fixed interest rate. So there it is. You get a fixed interest rate as published by the bank that remains constant throughout the investment period chosen by the client. The interest rate will only change once the fixed deposit has been matured. So maybe the bank says, okay, you choose an option to invest for 5 years. They will fix the premium for 5 years. After the 5 years, the investment terminates. You said you want to reinvest. You make a new deal for another 5 years, but now they will fix the different. It might be the same, but depending on the interest and inflation, it might be a different interest rate then again. That's what they mean there. When you look at unit trusts, it is a medium to a long-term investment. The risk can be regarded as also a medium to high. Depending on the type of portfolio the funds are invested in. Generally, the risk is spread over several types of investments, which reduces the risk. This product is suitable for more moderate or risk-neutral investors who are prepared to take, and here's the keyword, they're prepared to take some risk when they invest. Fluctuations in share prices on the JSE create either an increase or a decrease in value. When you look at an endowment policies are investments with a fixed period. These policies are usually taken out for a predetermined period. The period of investment is a minimum of 5 years, but ranges from 5 to 15 years and can be considered as long-term investment. The level of risk depends on the underlying investments. The interest rates are favorable and the risk is low unless the growth rate is less than inflation. Guaranteed endowments are policies in which the amount to be paid out is also guaranteed. When you look at annuities, an annuity is a policy that pays out regular income. An example of an annuity is a retirement annuity. The interest rates are market related. These investments are considered to be long-term. This risk depends on the underlying investments. You know, most of you probably have retirement annuities or shorties or RA. It's long-term because you start when you are still very young until you retire. That's your retirement. And then it will pay out a monthly fee, a monthly income. That's your retirement income. If an aggressive portfolio were chosen, the risk would be high because the returns would also be high. However, there could be a loss of capital. Whenever you see high risk, high interest, there could be a loss of capital. A conservative portfolio is based on stable. So a conservative portfolio is based on stable investments with a proven track record and would be considered reasonably secure. The more conservative an investment portfolio, the more conservative the interest earned. The importance of advice on deposit products. So let's look at finance and advice. For a representative to provide professional and sound advice, they need to understand how the South African economy works, specifically relating to the world of finance. It is essential to understand how the various components of both local and global systems impact on how banks do business and how consumers make choices. Banking is no longer just about what products and services a specific bank offer and how that bank operates internally. Bank workers are not only expected to follow the internal policies of the bank for which they work, they are also required to educate themselves regarding the various processes carried out in the bank. Today, bank workers are also expected to continually educate themselves in terms of local and global financial and economic aspects that impact on the level of service that they are required by law to provide clients. When giving advice, representatives must focus on their specific area of operation while considering how the economy operates and how this will impact on the advice provided to the client. Representatives also need to ensure that they are familiar with the products and services available in the marketplace, as well as their products and services to provide the best possible advice to a client in a professional manner. Providing the best possible advice will help the banks to build a long-term, rewarding relationship with clients, and that will be able to keep the clients. That is what every FSP wants. You want to keep your clients. The FACE Act regulates the giving of advice. Representatives that work for one financial institution are only bound to sell products and services that relate to that bank. Financial advisors that work for various institutions would need to be able to compare products from all institutions so that the client is provided with various solutions that might meet his or her needs. When we look at legislative requirements, the Financial Advisory and Intermediary Services Act, in other words, also known as the FACE Act, was introduced to South Africa to regulate how advice is given and financial products and services are sold. Make sure that competent and qualified means fit and proper persons give all advice that is provided in the rendering of financial services. They must make available an easy means of recourse for any person who has been discriminated against by any contravention of this Act. The FACE Act became effective on 30 September 2004. People, I suggest you know this. It became effective 30 September 2004. What is the purpose of this Act? The purpose of the Act is to regulate the rendering of all financial advisory and intermediary services to clients. They want to regulate this industry. So I made it quite easy for you to understand here. So the purpose of the Act, therefore, is to purr like a cat, or to put it right. All right, now let me show you how easy I made it for you. So number one, we said, it's the protection of customers in the financial services environment. So what does, if you remember the sentence, to put it right, the first P, this P, is that one. It's the protection of consumers in the financial services industry. What does the E of the I in it means? The I in it is to ensure that consumers are provided with adequate information. Why? Can anybody tell me about? You see it on the screen. So that they can make informed decisions. That is your I. What does the R in right stands? The R in right stands so that they can regulate. There's the R. They can regulate the regulation of the rendering of specific financial advisory and intermediary selling activities of financial planners. So people, please remember this. The purpose of the FACE Act is to purr, or to put it right. Then you, if you know that purr or put it right, you must just think the P stands for the protection of clients. The I stands for I must give them enough information so that they can make informed decisions. And the R in right stands for the regulation of the rendering of specific financial advisory and intermediary selling activities of financial planners. A financial services provider, otherwise known as an FSP, and the representatives must always act in the interest of the client, not in your own interest, for your own pocket, for your own commission, or for, as the branch manager will say, for the branches or the company or the business best interest. No, the client's best interest. They must act honestly, ensure that they are skilled, fit and proper, and be diligent and careful when providing clients with financial advice. In terms of South African legislation, an FSP or the reps who provide inappropriate advice will be judged against the level of knowledge, their skill and care, and expected from any other provider in the same situation. There are severe penalties for providers and their reps if they do not comply with legislation requirements when advising clients. People, the fines are in the millions. You can get up to 10 million rand fine or 10 years or 15 years in prison, or both. So please be very careful. The requirement that must be met when providing advice includes, and there's the whole list, and I suggest that you learn them and know them. They must provide factually correct information. They must use plain language that will not mislead clients. So it must be factually correct information. They must supply enough and appropriate information. Allow clients enough time to make an informed decision. Provide information orally or in writing as requested by the client. Ensure that the information is set out in a readable format. Ensure that all fees and charges or interest rates are expressed in monetary terms. Provide calculations if required to illustrate interest earnings. Disclose all information as is required by law. Treat the client sincerely or fairly and with integrity. Carry out all services within a reasonable time frame and as requested by the client. Account for all transactions accurately and treat all clients information as confidential unless required by law or as requested by the client in writing. That is the requirements that must be met in providing advice. So an FSP is obliged to gather all relevant information about the client's financial position, as we said before, objectives and experience relating to deposit products to be able to provide sound advice. Once the needs analysis has been conducted based on the information received from the client, the representative must provide the client with enough information to make an informed decision. This is very important. Clients must have enough information so they can make an informed decision. It means that the client must be given a few options to select an appropriate product. The characteristics, features, and benefits of deposit products must be clearly explained for the client to be able to see how the products can match his or her objectives. All special conditions relating to the various products must be explained, especially where the performance of the product is not guaranteed. Okay? So all special conditions related to the various products must be explained. All interest rates, charges, and penalty fees must also be explained in clear terms to avoid any misunderstandings. The investment period, and penalties for early withdrawals of funds relating to the investment must also be explained. These aspects are vitally important, as the bank does not want to be held liable for any misunderstanding that could have been created in the process of giving advice. And that's the end of this part. If you've got any further questions, please feel free to ask me. I will gladly assist you.